Yo guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the absolutely classic film, Scream. This case right here is the case for the re-release, but same premise, it's the same film. Sorry about not uploading recently. I actually did make this video, and for some reason the audio did not sync up, and I could not recover any audio. So that's the reason why I haven't uploaded this video yet. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually the cast of the film. Now, most of the time, slashers have mediocre actors in them. They're not the best, or the characters are just very shallow. But in this film, that's not the case. You know, we've got people like David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Skeet Ulrich, Drew Barrymore, and then one of my favourite ones, Matthew Lillard, in this. I mean, you know you're going to be in for a good time. And one thing that I did not like about the film the first time I watched it was the fact that Drew Barrymore did die very quickly. Even though she is, as you can see right here, she is actually on the cover art. Yeah, she did die very quickly, and I wasn't really too happy about that the first time I watched it. I've watched this movie quite a few times now. I've sort of come to respect how much of a gutsy move it was on Wes Craven's behalf to kill her off very quickly, because it did really impact you a lot. She was in all like the promotion material, and then for her to die that quickly, and also her death was brutal. Like, she was gutted. And, yeah. Also, it was technically her choice as well. She was offered the role, I believe, of Sidney Prescott, the main character. But she turned it down. She said it would be more effective if she died first. And in my opinion, that was a very good choice. It was very effective. And another great thing about this cast is the two strong female characters that we have. Now, the two strong female characters that we have are Gale Weathers and Sidney Prescott, right? They're two main characters, and they both have very different opinions about things, which means you do get some really, really good clashes. But then we also do get, some good scenes where they do work with each other, and they do go quite tag team on Billy at the end. But despite all that, my favourite member of the cast has to be Matthew Lillard as Stu. I mean, he's the driving aspect of this whole sort of comedy horror film, right? He just performs some scenes amazingly. The way he goes over the top in some scenes works brilliantly, even if it doesn't in some, but it works more often than not. And another incredible thing about him is how he can take a scene like the one with the phone at the end that's very serious and just make you burst out into laughter.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dad!
So, another incredible thing, in my opinion, about this film is how self-aware it managed to be. And that is, in my opinion, the reason why it did actually revive the slasher genre. Scream is my favourite horror film of all time, and my third favourite film of all time, which does actually say something because I've watched quite a lot of films, especially horrors. And when this was released, the big three, Jason, Freddy, and Michael, they were releasing films, but they were pretty trash. They'd kind of worn out just recklessly killing people. But Scream brought the new element to that, with it being self-aware and everything like that. Now, it's just really good because you can relate to the characters that are on the screen, They know about the cliches, the characters, and the rules of the genre. And it just makes it so much more relatable to who's on the screen. And a great example of this is how Sydney states, that the final girl always runs up the stairs and how it's insulting. And then she proceeds to actually run up the stairs, and it is quite meta. And another incredible example of this is Randy as a character as a whole. He obviously loves films. He loves horror films, and he loves the genre, and he knows all the cliches and the rules of the genre. And he even had that really, really famous scene in which he did show all of those rules and all of those cliches. And it's just a defining element to this movie.
For instance, number one, you can never have sex. Big no-no! Big no!
I'm a dead man.
Sex equals death, okay? Number two, you can never drink or do drugs. No, the sin factor. It's a sin. It's an extension of number one. And number three, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure. I'll be right back. You see, you push the laws and you end up...
So, in this subsection of the video, we're going to be talking about the kills of Scream. Now, in this movie, Scream 1, and in most of the actual series, including Scream 4, most of the kills are just hunting knife slashes, or, you might get the odd gunshot here and there. There's a couple in the original, but all of them are done very well. Very little are off screen, and a lot of them do feature quite a lot of blood, which is always a good thing in a slasher film. And yeah, the film's kills are mostly mediocre to good, but in this film we're absolutely blessed with my second favourite horror movie death of all time. Now it's only just missing out to the, the liquid nitrogen kill in Jason X, only just missing out to that, and it is, by no surprise, Tatum's death, right? She goes into the garage to get some beers, and let's just say it doesn't really end very well. We see her get pursued by Ghostface, but one of the reasons why I love this kill so much, not only is it because it's so creative and the way the kill was done, but also it's quite comical as well, because Ghostface, who I assume in this scene is actually Stu, is getting beaten down by Tatum and some fridge doors and some beer bottles. And that's something that I do really like about this kill. But then in a decision that is worse than going up the stairs in a horror film, she tries to fit through a cat flap. And, let's be honest, she was never really going to fit through that cat flap, was she? So, yeah, that's one reason why I absolutely love the kills in this film. They're either greatly done knife slashes, or gunshots, or you get to see one of the best horror movie kills of all time. And one other thing that this film does very good is handles the fact that it's sort of a whodunit kind of film. Now, with some of the later films in the series, we see a lot of big red herrings of people in the film, and that is not done in this. There are red herrings, but they're not massive red herrings. A great example of how this is done very well, because it's subtle, is the scene in which Sydney is getting attacked in the toilets at school. We see Ghostface's shoes, and they're like these black boots. And then very close after, maybe like 10 minutes after, we see the sheriff of the town stamping out a cigarette, even though he's supposed to have quit. And he's wearing basically the same boots. And, the first time you watch it, it does raise quite a few alarm bells. Obviously, the second and third time you watch it, or whatever, I've watched this film quite a lot, you obviously know it's not him, but it is quite nice to know that they put that stuff in there, so the first time you watch it, it is a bit of a surprise. Now, one thing I do have to touch on here, though, is fake-out deaths. Now, with most other films, I'd be annoyed with fake-out deaths, because, you want to beef up the kill count as much as possible. But with this film, I don't really mind, because how can anybody be angry at Deputy Dewey still being alive? That's all I can say. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, if you have watched this video. Hopefully, if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe and like button. See you in the next one.
Look, Kenny?
Yeah?
I know that you're about 50 pounds overweight, but when I say hurry, please interpret that as move your fat tub of lard ass now!